guys, so I thought I'd do a little video on Venus, the planet Venus, representing love and relationships, and maybe someone out there is meant to see this at the right time. So I just want to go into a little bit about what Venus represents, some more other than just love and relationships. She really is what appeals to our senses and what we find beautiful and alluring, and how we allure people to us and attract people to us. And it's what we enjoy and what we seek for romance, and what are our tastes in music, in fashion, in anything like that, how we indulge and how we give and receive love and affection. So Venus, or Venis, or venim, in Latin actually comes from magical charm, or even venom is what it means. So we have to be really careful how we use this energy, obviously, because it can be deadly, how we allure people to us. A Scorpio Venus actually comes to mind. It's the metaphorical love can kill, or meaning that it can create great transformation. Venus is Aphrodite, so she is very concerned with pleasure, and she's loyal to love and being in love. So it depends on what aspects you have, what sign your Venus is in, also as to how you go about love and relationships and how you relate to people. So for instance, you could have a Gemini Venus, but it could be squaring Saturn. So being kind of fun and flirty in relationships, but then Saturn will ultimately teach you maybe some tough lessons along the way of durability and loyalty and endurance. And also means not necessarily a Taurus Venus or a Scorpio Venus is always going to be loyal, because Venus isn't necessarily concerned with loyalty. She's about love and affection and pleasure. And they're two very different things. When we're looking for loyalty in relationships or with Venus, we have to look at the two separate things, Venus and Saturn. Because being concerned with and being loyal to love doesn't necessarily mean you'll be loyal to a partner. So we really have to be aware of how we each define love. And to make a long-term relationship work, we need Saturn. Saturn is really the glue that holds people together long-term. And Saturn isn't passion or romance or excitement. He is the law of the universe that says the effort that we put into something, we reap the rewards of that over time. So depending on how much or what kind of effort we put into something, we'll receive that tenfold. Because Saturn is investment. So he teaches us how to invest our energy into something and see a return. So it's definitely not a quick fix for something. And the Capricorn archetype understands this really well, maybe sometimes too well, when they believe too much that everything has to come through blood, sweat and tears and hard work. This is when they need to lighten up a little bit and remember that they can receive things maybe through luck or maybe something through short term, and it can still be as valuable. But back to that example of Saturn, it's like you can't become CEO of a company just by rocking up to a job without any experience. You have to have done the hard work required for that job, and then you get the salary and everything that comes along with it. And that is the positive. It's very much solidified over time. It is something you build up, and it's not something that you lose quickly. It's really the most stable and tangible thing. And it can also represent the money that you earn over a lifetime. It's the relationships that you've cultivated and that have endured through all of the ups and downs through life, that have been with you through everything. This is the durability or the longevity of Saturn and what it represents in our lives. So if we're all about quick fixes, we won't have the deep rewards that come with the long-term things. So Saturn really is wealth. It can represent money, but unlike Jupiter, which is more spiritual wealth or abundance, that's a slightly different thing again. So Saturn is the choice that we make over and over again to put consistent effort into something, and loyalty towards a goal or relationship or responsibility. And it takes a lot of maturity and understanding and hard work. And it also takes courage, because we don't always know what our investments will bring back to us. And obviously it also takes love, Venus, because no matter what you go through, if you've got love between you, that will also help propel you to move forward with that person. So I don't necessarily think Venus contacts are going to make the relationship long lasting or are the be all and end all. It will mean that there is love and harmonious sort of energy between you, between your love languages and how you express your love towards each other. But you do need Saturn along the way to help keep that going. And if we look at the opposite, it is interesting, because if we have no Saturn contacts at all in synastry, you can be happy in a relationship, especially if both individuals are free spirits and they simply just want to enjoy life and not necessarily have something more long term. And maybe their chart isn't about learning lessons of durability and responsibility. It's quite unlikely though, because we all have to go through that lesson at some point. We all have Saturn somewhere in our chart. And usually when we come to our Saturn return, that's when these lessons will come up. And it might be a slightly different story then. And that happens around when we're about 28, 29, depending on your chart. And this is really where the lessons need to come through relationships, or our work, our career, our friends, our family, our hobbies, or maybe not even until years later, but it is so probable that it's going to happen. And it will humble us, and it will make us stronger in a way that we weren't before. And this is how kind of complicated synastry really does get. You need to have a really solid understanding of the individual's personality, their progressions, their transits, their experience in life, their people around them, their understanding about themselves and their own patterns, and how you actually apply that to another person's chart, which comes with their own set of all of that list as well. So let alone the composite chart or the relationships chart, and goals and what they're meant to sort of manifest together. There's so much to synastry that it's so complex. Love is such a complex and interesting thing. I guess a nice thing with Venus in synastry to look for is to have compatible or the same elements of Venus, so you can really understand each other's love language and view on love and relationships, and feel like you're getting some return in that regard in the relationship. And obviously all of the personal planets like Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, if they are making harmonious aspects to the other person's Venus, that's also good for synastry too, for compatibility. So I really love Venus. She is the mirror that we all need to see ourselves objectively through another person, to see any projections we may put onto our partners and why we may do that, and where that is coming from within ourselves, so that we can evolve and grow. Because the symbol for Venus is actually Aphrodite's mirror. She is a mirror. That's what relationships represent. And she's also here to teach us love, how to love, all the different types of love that there are in the world. It could be anything from a love from or to a grandparent, an animal, a child, a friend, or to ourselves as well. That's why it also represents self-worth. And she allows us to fall in love with the earthy and physical reality around us. And Pisces exalted in Venus means there is love even beyond that. So beyond the physical, and the highest and purest form of love is not connected to the physical or any physical pleasures. It can actually be more energetic and ethereal and divine. It's the unconditional, abundant love of God or Great Spirit or the universe. And it has no attachments at its purest form, and it's the ultimate connection and emergence with everything that is. And we know this because this is how we feel when we fall in love. We radiate love, we feel connected with everything and everyone around us. So because Venus is at home in, but also is ruled by the Earth, which is Taurus, she rules earthly pleasure, like eating sweet foods, nice perfumes, nice textures, spa days, sensual touch, soft textures, colour, art. These are things to be enjoyed and what helps us enjoy life. So who knows what will happen with other incarnations, but we may not get to experience these things in another lifetime. So it's really about enjoyment and pleasure and being in the moment with what we have and how to enjoy that to its fullest. And this is also why singers, movie stars, models, or artistic people are either rich or broke, really. Usually they have strong Venus in their chart, and it really depends if they've got trines or squares to it. And this is why these people in these professions are paid the highest and are amongst the most revered and wealthy, because Venus is money and what we value. And we really place high value on looks and beauty and singing talent. So anyone who can sing are like angels to us. People love them. And also design talent. So this can be fashion designers or architects or interior designers. And we pay for, by physical means, which is Venus, what we put value in. And we feel loved, Venus, for how much self-value and self-worth we have. And I think we can all put a bit more attention on our own self-value and self-worth. And when we do, we sort of know more of our place in society. And we then know what relationships aren't quite right for us or what are right for us. And Venus is also connected to the air element through Libra. So this is about fitting into society and social interactions. So we need to learn how to carry ourselves and where we fit into our relationships once we've built our own self-worth and self-esteem up within ourselves. But most of us don't really do this. We usually find ourselves in relationships that aren't quite right for us, and maybe with a bit of low self-esteem we stay in them because we don't know if we can find any better, or we don't quite know what our value is or where to place that. So then we have to go through tough breakups, and this teaches us this lesson. So we usually learn our self-value around about age 2, which is the second house of the natural zodiac and ruled by Venus and Taurus. So this is now when we are learning that we can own things, what is mine and what isn't mine. We are now separate from our mother, and we have our own wants and desires. And this can also be a time when children naturally start to wean themselves from the mother and start learning how to feed themselves and give themselves nourishment. They start reaching for food. And this developmental psychology also gives way to patterns of our ability to share in relationships, whether we own or possess our partners because of a need to own something to feel secure. So Venus in our second house is really important to understand in our own natal charts, and at its highest expression and exaltation in Pisces, it really is that unconditional love. And so this is what we need to learn to give ourselves as well as other people. And the lessons of Saturn and Virgo will also teach us about discernment and knowing when that may not be appropriate, but we definitely do need to have that within us as well. So just some extra thoughts on this earthiness and the lessons of Venus and love. And this second house is it's really coming from that place of security and the feeling of being held by the ground that we're a part of, having our place somewhere in society. And we need to let go of wanting and cultivate the feeling of having enough and being enough just as we are. So you don't need to hold on to have enough. And we learn from nature the cyclical law that all will come in due time. Nature doesn't rush. So we can sit back and enjoy the simple pleasures of life, like watching a sunset or having a dessert or having a hug from a friend. And this really comes back to Buddha's energy of living in the now and the present. So leave a like or comment maybe about where Venus is in your chart, or what maybe you place high value on, and what you think about love and relationships. And I'll see you soon.